So at this point, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome to the stage the OFS's Chief Executive, Nicola Dandridge.
Thank you, Yvonne, and welcome to you all. It's fantastic to see so many of you here today to join in discussions on such really important issues for students and also for the higher education sector. When we at the Office for Students talk with students or talk with student unions and with our student panel, mental health, harassment, sexual misconduct are issues that are raised most frequently as being issues of such serious concern for them. And therefore, it is a real priority for the Office for Students as well. These are issues that can have a profound effect on a student's experience and their ability to succeed and have a fulfilling time at university and beyond on graduation too. These issues affect all students, full-time, part-time, domestic and international. And we know that there are particular issues too affecting postgraduate students in relation to both mental health and indeed harassment. This is these are far-reaching issues with implications throughout the student group. Part of our role at the Office for Students is to bring organisations and individuals together from across the higher education sector and beyond to discuss challenges and work together on solutions. That is very much our aim for today, to share experiences and to forge connections and ensure that mental health and harassment are firmly on the agenda of every university and college in the country. In line with our strategy, the approach that we, the Office for Students, take must have a demonstrable impact on student outcomes. And so what we're doing, inevitably, is different for each of these two themes. The appropriate response for harassment is not the same as the appropriate response for mental health. They have unique challenges, and we are addressing them separately and differently, albeit that they are both the subject of today's important conference and discussion. But our first theme of mental health continues to be a widespread concern for students and universities and colleges alike. By its very nature, mental health is complex, covering a broad spectrum of issues from severe and enduring diagnosed mental health conditions to the stress and anxiety that most of us can expect to experience from time to time. Whether feeling the impact of living away from home for the first time, or the stress caused by long hours of study, or having to work and study at the same time, students may be particularly vulnerable to issues such as stress, anxiety, and depression. And we, as the regulator at the Office for Students, need to play our part in helping create the conditions that can drive improvements in mental health for those students, and to support them to access, succeed in, and progress from higher education. Central to this, as I've said, is collaboration. That's collaboration within the sector, but crucially, collaboration with health services, with charities, with the third sector, and with schools, and with parents and families of students to share, where appropriate, knowledge and resources. Whether we look at mental health as a campus or community challenge, it's a challenge too complex for any one university or college to address in isolation. Not only that, it requires coherence within institutions to ensure that all students and staff are involved in the design and delivery of both prevention and support, as well as measuring and evaluating whether that support is effective, a whole institution approach. At the OFS, we recognise the power of collaboration, which is why we are supporting the development of the University Mental Health Charter led by Student Minds. And you'll be shortly hearing from the Chief Executive of Student Minds, Rosalie Tressler, who is here somewhere. Hello. And we're delighted to be joining our first panel this morning. In June this year, 2019, we announced the 10 successful projects of our 6 million Mental Health Challenge competition. The fund is helping universities and colleges working with students, student unions and other partners such as the NHS and third sector to generate new approaches to mental health issues. More than 50 partners are involved from a wide range of organisations, and we look forward to sharing the outcomes of these initiatives. While our focus remains on driving improvements in prevention and support for the whole student population, it is important that we've also been developing our understanding of what we can do to address and respond to specific areas and needs for students with declared mental health conditions, to make sure that that support is available across the whole student life cycle. You will all have been given a copy of our insight brief that we launched on Monday. We've focused on the question of are students being properly supported, and our focus with this brief has been led by evidence about students who report having a diagnosed mental health condition and how likely they are to succeed in higher education compared with their peers. Our analysis of the data on access and participation shows that students who report a mental health condition are more likely to drop out of higher education, less likely to progress into skilled work or further study, and less likely to graduate with a first or a 2-1 compared to those without a declared mental health condition. And the analysis found that factors such as gender and ethnicity appear to compound the challenges faced by students with mental health conditions. Do read the brief if you haven't already done so, and consider the recommendations in the context of what further work could be done to address the gaps and outcomes within your university or college, or indeed your field of work. Moving on now to harassment, hate crime and sexual misconduct, which is the theme of our second panel discussion today. The scale and severity of harassment, hate crime and sexual misconduct in our sector was first properly and fully identified by pioneering research by the National Union of Students. This was then followed up by many other bodies, but including Universities UK, whose Changing the Culture report in 2016 mapped out ways forward for the sector. And they recently followed up with a series of reports that commented on the mixed progress that had been made on these issues in the sector. And then we had the recent Equality and Human Rights Commission's report into racial harassment in the higher education sector, with its trenchant and hard-hitting findings. 24% of ethnic minority students have experienced racial harassment on campus, and many staff and students suggested that they'd not reported incidents because they had no confidence that their institution would address their complaints. This has to change. Those are terrible findings for all of us. There are many, however, many positive examples of higher education providers taking action to prevent and address these issues very effectively. We at the Office for Students have funded 119 projects within universities and colleges designed at tackling hate crime, as well as online harassment and sexual misconduct. Some of the project leads are here today, and we've identified a whole range of really positive and useful case studies and resources which are available on our Office for Students website. And these projects have sparked positive change across a number of institutions, but as we said in our response to the Equality and Human Rights Commission report, there is very much more to be done, and we do need to acknowledge that the picture painted by that report was not complimentary. Last month, we announced plans to consult on a set of expectations for how all higher education providers should be preventing and addressing harassment, hate crime and sexual misconduct. We expect to launch the consultation now in the new year, and we will want to hear from you and from a wide range of students, providers, representative bodies and others with an interest in this area in response to the consultation. As Yvonne said, because we are in PERDA, we are unable to say very much at all. Actually, we are unable to say anything about our plans in this area. But thankfully, that doesn't apply to the other wonderful speakers and panelists we have today, who will be able to speak freely on these subjects. And we very much look forward to hearing from them shortly, and also from hearing from you in the audience, both within the higher education sector and without. And I'm sure the discussions that you are able to lead will give us much to think about. And as far as the Office for Students are concerned, we will pick up this dialogue once the election is sorted